Welcome back, my beautiful soulmates, to another heartfelt episode of Soul Cync, where we dive deep into the soul, the lessons, and the moments that truly shape us. Today's guest is not just someone you know from the spotlight. She's a soul sister, a radiant spirit, and a woman whose journey has been filled with transformation, healing, and undeniable grace. She's an artist, a seeker, and someone who leads with love and intention. Please welcome my dear friend, Natalie. Now that we got through that, but we're not done getting deep.
Oh, we're going deeper.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
we're just
I should expect nothing less with you.
Right. You know, we're going to the depths.
I was like, I feel like we went pretty deep. You're like, no, 300 below.
Nope,
I just saw the movie Last Breath, and they go like 300 below the ocean. It's a true story. So anyway,
so we're going 300 feet.
We're going 300 feet. We're going deep, not just surface.
No, because it's just like, I got to. Because
yeah,
there's someone that embodies as much strength and grace as you do. We're going to get into grief.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you've been through, this has not been an easy year for you. And this is also another part of the reason why we've grown so close. And it's another thing that I'm scared of. And I thought that I had rewrote my relationship with death and my perspective and my outlook after I lost my uncle, because I felt him so close. And that's when I really, really got closer to God. But then I think about, some of the things like you had to go through and like losing your grandma, and then I like tank. And that's why, like, as soon as you said it, I was like, you literally don't have to say anything else. Just send me your address. Like, I want to be there for you. Yeah. But you still, like, you walk with just so much sunshine. But you don't run away from the pain. You embody it and you carry it, and you also, in a sense, like, release it. Like, you're just like this walking testament of like, it's going to be okay, and to trust God. So like, can you talk about your strength and how you've been able to carry this pain of grief so well, and like, just how are you getting through this? How are you doing this?
So I definitely think that I was not prepared, and that's the thing, is like it's such, life and death is such a crazy thing, because we know that we're born, and we know that eventually we will die.
I guess there's two things that's for sure.
We know. And so I think in our minds we have a concept of death, and we feel like we understand it because we see like movies about it, or we've heard of it happening to other people around us, or it eventually does happen to us, right? So there's this concept of thinking that we understand it, but my grandma was elderly. Like, my grandma was 94 years old.
Oh,
so she lived a long, beautiful life. And I thought I was prepared, because I knew that my mom was her caregiver. And she had been taking care of her for many years. And slowly but surely, her health was declining. And in that time, I kept telling myself, my grandma's going to pass away. And I was doing things that I thought would prepare me. Like, I felt like I had been visiting. I've always visited my grandma. I've always spent birthdays and Christmases with my grandma, and we were very close. And I kept trying to create like a means of letting go while she was alive. But the final days of her life, I realized that there's nothing that can prepare you for something that is so final. And I think that was really awakening. And the thing about my grandma's death is, like, it wasn't my first death that I've experienced. I had a friend pass away I've had two friends pass away by suicide. People that I knew, people that I grew up with. And it was difficult, very difficult to experience that. But I think also what made it different was that my relationship was estranged for a few years before the passing. So, and I don't know if that was, again, to protect my heart. I felt like these people that I mentioned, like my friends, were going in different directions with different vices, like in their life. And I feel like it was a different experience. I still felt pain. I still questioned, and I felt such sadness for their families and for our memories. But at the same time, when my grandma passed away, I was experiencing something different because she was part of my everyday life. And so it was closer to home, and the sadness was different. Right. And I feel like when it happened, I felt like a way of deeper relationship with God, because I felt her suffering in the final days in ways that made me question just
like the fight.
Yeah, it made me question. It just made me realize the depth of like our human race. Human race. Yeah, when you're watching death and when you're faced with death, there's so many things that you feel, and all of the memories start to flash, and you start like in your mind, and you start to see your health differently. You start to think about moments differently, because they're so you're so mortal in that way. I think we like day to day, we kind of like, we don't think about, I don't know, I don't think everybody just sits there and thinks about death all day. Like we just focus on living.
Chick-fil-A, we're just texting and driving. We're just, like in any moment.
We're focused on living. So we're not sitting here thinking about death. And when you're looking at death and when you're experiencing death, it takes your life, it feels like it's on like steroids. Like your life, you're so alive. Your health. On a clock. Yeah, on a clock. And as I was with my grandma, I felt like every breath was numbered. And I remember looking at the clock, and I remember looking at my grandma, and I knew it was just a matter of like hours, days for her to go and be in that with God, and to be in that mystery that we all, wonder and think about. And so I was really devastated, and it was very difficult. I want to say her final days and then her passing, and it was something that I was like, wow, I couldn't really like grasp at first the sadness that was happening to me, because I thought, again, I was prepared. I thought like, oh, okay, I know that this is going to happen. So here I am battling this, like, is this pain going to go away? How do I, like initially, like when it happened, and as I'm going through the days, it's been months now that she's passed away. I've had to lean on God tremendously. I'm so grateful for prayers, for people who prayed for me, because I prayed as well, but like I really felt the power of the prayers holding me up. And just being so, I try to stay present. That's really what I do. I really try to stay present and not allow the fear of pain take me down. I really try to focus on what God has given me in the moment, because again, we know two things for sure. We're born and we're going to die. So while I'm here, I'm like, I still have to make the best of the time that God has given me, because it is a gift. Right. Every moment that you have, and every breath that you have, and every day that you have is a gift. And we should never take that for granted. And it's okay to express sadness, because it shows the love that was there, that is there, that will always be there. And that's why your heart is in so much pain, and your mind is like reliving the memories and the time. And I feel like that's beautiful. I think the love is beautiful, but I also think it's important to remain present, because your presence is so purposeful. There's a purpose for your presence and what God has called you to do, for those around you, in your community, in your family, for strangers, for maybe people watching right now, listening. And I think that is important, because we don't know what tomorrow brings. So as sad as I am and as sad as I was, I told myself, okay, what would my grandmother, what would this person, a person who has passed away, who's close to you, what would they want for you? Right? They would want you to spend your days joyful.
Yeah.
Because
and enjoy it.
Because
it's not forever.
And we're going to be together again. I believe that's the promise. And that's another reason why I believe in God, is because I believe that there's another life after this. I don't believe that this is everything. And so that is my hope. And that is what I look forward to. And so in that, I'm going to be with my grandma real soon. Yeah. And like one day in the kingdom of God is 1,000 days, 1,000 years here on earth. Sorry, it's 1,000 years here on earth, one day. So think about that. Like my grandma may have just like passed, and by the time, she takes a breath, I'm there right next to her, because
and it's like no time has been
lost. And so I really think that me being present in the day, me trying to remind myself that God has a purpose for every breath that's given. It is a gift. I'm able to transform the pain into purpose. And so I think it's so important to do that. And it's
alchemize.
To alchemize. Yes. Absolutely. So that's how I get through the hurt. That's how I get through my days. And also one thing I want to say about my grandmother is that she was a mother of 9 children that she raised on her own. So strong, so much strength.
Wow.
And I always think to myself that because I'm her granddaughter, the DNA is so strong that it's in my bones. I'll carry her strength with me. So, and I pray to God all the time for that strength. I was like, if it's in her, it's surely in me, because I come from her. And we look so much alike.
Yes. Why are you the prettiest crier? Oh, can I have a tissue, please? You're not supposed to make me cry. What the heck?
So I ask for that. I ask for that strength, and I feel like God's rewarded it to me. So I'm grateful.
That was so beautiful. Ooh, I felt it. Got the chills. Thank you so much, Ashley. Oh, you're the best. Natalie. I always say, like, when I'm able to make someone cry, I'm like, okay, I know it's a good interview, but you're the best guest. It's going to be the first podcast of many.
You're going to do a reel of your tears by the end of the season.
No, for real. Goodness. The way you handle grief, again, like, is so beautiful, and thank you for sharing. And what was your grandmother's name?
Carmen.
Shout out to Carmen.
Yes.
Her presence was really felt, and that strength that you talk about and her power, you definitely embody it. Before we wrap this up, anyone that's dealing with death and just the thick of loss, what would you say to them? And how can they begin to move forward without feeling like they're leaving their loved ones behind, and be able to embody maybe the qualities or traits that they have?
I would say that the best thing you could do for loved ones that have passed on is to honor them. Honor them with the gifts that you've received from their presence and the exchange. Because in relationships, we're always growing with one another and exchanging energy, love, generosity with one another. And you take those gifts with you and you create ways to use them for your purpose. And I think an amazing thing to do would be to really reflect and write them down and say, wow, when I look at this person and the moments that we shared, this is what I've gained from this relationship, and honor them and bring them up in conversation. I think it's been so healing to be able to talk about my grandmother and just her presence and the blessings that she gave me and the nurturing and the unconditional love. And I feel healed when I speak about her. I feel joyful. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the pain is more bearable.
I know I said that was the last question, but I have one more, because my closest friend is currently going through the passing of her dad. And just to hear the advice that you gave, I can't wait for her to listen to it, but how can I be there for her? Because what could you say? And I really have to respect her space from it and her wanting to not want to deal with it. But then I also, me not being there for one of my friends has ended a friendship while they were going through death. And I'm like, oh my God, I never want to go through that again. But because of my relationship with death, I didn't know how to, I only know how to send flowers and give flowers and just be there. If you ever need me, just let me know. Yeah. But what would your advice be to the people that are around their friends or their family who has just lost someone? How can we be a better friend or support someone going through that?
I actually love this question because when my grandma passed away, I did realize differences in the way others responded to me losing someone, and how they showed support or didn't. And it really did affect me. It really did make me feel
just question their character, question your guys' relationship.
The relationship, but also why are they so uncomfortable with death, or maybe why they felt like they weren't close enough, or they were afraid to engage.
Talk about it.
And the ones who I didn't expect to be there were there. And so it's really interesting how that can really, define moments in a relationship. And I think that people aren't going to always know when they're grieving what they need. I think that also with the words you say can be very difficult, because when someone's going through pain, there's nothing you can say to take the pain away. Nothing. I think oftentimes we reach for silver linings in the situation.
And then it's almost like you did not just say that right now.
It can be very insensitive. And so I think it's important to recognize the pain that someone is going through, and just offer to be there for comfort, maybe in the way that you say, I am so sorry that this happened. I am so sorry that you're hurting. Flowers is always a really kind and beautiful gesture, but also just sometimes just showing up. Mm-hmm. Just showing up. If you take time from your chaotic day, because that person probably isn't functioning. They're figuring out how to get back to normal life. It
almost looks like they're in autopilot, they're just not dealing with it.
It absolutely is that, because your mind is constantly reeling of the traumatic effects that have happened, and what you've seen and heard, and also the gravity of it affecting your everyday life and what life looks like and is going to mean in this new season. Mm-hmm. And so somebody that can just be there, and especially someone that especially if you're a very busy person, to show up and say, hey, I'm here. I took time. I can go if you're not comfortable with me being here, if now's not a good time, but I just want to be here for you. And that means so much, because oftentimes people just want to cry. They want to just talk about what they're experiencing. They don't want to feel alone. They also sometimes need to get out of their heads, because a lot is happening in there. Right. So conversing with someone will be a relief for 20 minutes, even if they can just vent about what's happening and what they're feeling. So, a sweet flowers is a beautiful gesture. Just showing up, just to say, you know what, I cleared my day just to be here. So if you want me to go, I'll go. But I just wanted to come and give you the biggest hug and, respect what you need. But that's the best.
Thank you. This has been everything. This has been amazing. Natalie, I love you. You're my girl forever in every lifetime. Okay.
Yes, girl. Thank you for having me.
On a lighter note, let's do some fun rapid questions.
Oh, rapid questions. Okay.
It's so many tricks and things with me.
Here we go.
With rapid, we're not in a rush, but just don't think too hard. First thing that comes to mind.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. What's a song that instantly lifts your spirit?
Million Little Miracles, Maverick City.
If you could collaborate with any artist, living or past, who would it be?
Ooh, oh goodness, who would it be? Whitney Houston.
Ooh, I love that one. What's one spiritual practice you swear by?
Praying.
Knew you were gonna say
Prayer, 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 prayer.
If you could have a conversation with your younger self, what would you tell her?
Trust in the power of God, not in your own power, because God can do anything.
What's a place in the world that feels most healing to you?
My bed.
Such a Taurus. I love it. I love it. If you had to describe your energy in one word, what would it be?
My energy in one word. Oh, goodness. I don't even know.
Loving.
Loving. I'll take it.
All right, I answered that one for you. If you could relive one performance or moment in your career, what would it be?
The MMVAs in Canada, Much Music Awards.
What's one piece of advice you'd give to artists navigating their spiritual path and being in the music industry?
Stay close to your family, have prayer life, and start to read the Word of God.
And one more bonus question. Are we ever going to have a Girlicious reunion?
Lord knows. I mean, I'd be open to it. I just know from previous talking to a couple of other members that they're not up for it. So I think we're 2 on and 2 off. So if the other 2 could come on to the on, then yeah.
All right, give the fans what they want, okay? This has been everything. I love you. Seriously, an honor, a privilege, and just a pleasure. Thank you, guys. Stay aligned. This is Cync. Bye. My soulmates, thank you for tuning in, growing with me, and being part of this journey. If this episode resonated with you, take a moment to reflect, share it with someone who needs it, and let's keep the conversation going. And if you haven't already, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're listening on audio, leave a review. It truly means the world to me. But until next time, stay aligned, stay open, and keep syncing with your soul. This is Chaniah Kelley, and I'll see you next time on Soul Cync.